It is actually interesting when we listen to people telling us how something is extremely hard, because very often there is a simple purpose for such warning, and that is to discourage us from trying that very thing. Throughout the last 10, 15 years, I have been involved in higher education and have taught many classes, often on subjects that students are considering hard. Things like statistics and qualitative analysis and research methodology. And I came to understand that this concept of something being hard is actually taught to us. To some degree, people are trying to make something easier to comprehend or easier to deal with if we fail. So they preemptively tell us, oh, this is hard. So if you fail, it is not you. The subject matter was hard. But then I started noticing that this has permeated society at large. It's not just universities, it's not just the learning environment, but it's everything. People, and unfortunately, a lot of self-proclaimed experts and people that may or may not know something, that create a blog or a vlog and gain viewership because they're very charming, they're very photogenic, and people like to watch them, and they start propagating things, and what they say becomes true. The problem is that everything we're not familiar with is hard. Everything we do not know is hard. That's why learning encompasses small steps. We learn by starting slowly. We learn by starting with the most simple of concepts and then build on those. We cannot learn by starting with something very complex. That will become discouraging. We're going to fail. It is simply not possible. So when someone says something is hard without any preamble, I start being very skeptical. For example, people keep saying how hard certain cars, Mercedes, Porsche, BMW, Audi, is to work on. Guess what? When I start looking and working on those cars, it is really not hard. It is not any harder to work in a BMW as it is to work on a Civic. So why people call it more hard? Because they have not done it. So everything that someone has not done all of a sudden becomes hard. People also are in a transition space. We live in a very interesting crossroads. Technology has improved drastically, but we still have people that don't understand, or they do not trust, or they do not want to use technology. So for those people, something is hard if it is technologically engaging. Something is hard if there are computers associated with it, and something is hard because they have never spent the time to use it or learn from it. So when we're talking about things that are hard and easy, it's an interesting paradigm. Everything is hard and everything is easy. The things that I know are easy for me, but are not necessarily easy for other people. Conversely, the things that those people know are easy for them, but they're not necessarily easy for me. In order for something to become easy, we have to educate ourselves. We have to train ourselves. We have to use whatever we're talking about. If it is school, we have to read the material. We have to do problems as exercises. We have to build up so that subject, that specific thing, stop being hard and it becomes easy. And then we move from simpler to more complex constructs. And in the end, guess what? A slew of things that can be hard for other people becomes easy to us. So I view this excuse that something is hard simply as that, an excuse. It has no merit with it. If it is hard, break it into simpler parts, learn it, and move on. Being hard is not an excuse. Being hard doesn't mean it's not learnable or not doable. Being hard simply means we're not familiar with it. We need to stop hiding behind those excuses. We need to learn, we need to support education, and we need to stay away from those experts that we find throughout the internet that give you opinion, present it as fact, and then they create a following, sometimes a very loyal following, but actually they perform a disservice.